Piaget's Stages of Development by Katrina Crouch. Piaget believed that cognitive development always follows these 4 stages. The stages cannot be skipped, and each stage is marked by new intellectual abilities and the development of more complex understanding of the world. Piaget. Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist. He is known for his work in child development. He was interested in the process of the qualitative development of knowledge. He agreed with Freud in that human development can be described in stages, but he disagreed with Freud in that growth and learning was not driven by sexuality, but rather progressed gradually with new skills. There are 4 stages of Piaget's cognitive development. Number 1 is sensory motor. That is from ages 0 to 2 years. The next stage is pre-operational, which is 2 to 7 years. The third is concrete operational, which is 7 to 11 years. And the fourth is formal operations, ages 11 and older. The first stage of the 4-stage sequence is sensory motor, which is for ages 0 to 2 years old. During this stage, children are explorers. They want to see, hear, taste, and touch everything around them. There is no obvious rationale that underlines their motives. They use language to catalog objects and to make demands. Examples: doggy, horsey, food. Sensory stimuli is paired with voluntary motor response. Sensory and body coordination is established. And during the later parts, children learn the concept of object permanence. Object permanence is that objects still exist when they cannot be seen. The pre-operational stage is the second stage. It is from ages 2 to 7 years old. During this stage, children learn to think abstractly. They understand symbolic concepts, and they use language in more sophisticated ways. Children understand object permanence, but not conservation. The concept of conservation is a substance's appearance doesn't change its properties or quantity. During this stage, children are able to imagine people or objects that do not exist. For example, lizards with wings or breathing fire dragons. And they like to make up their own games. In one of Piaget's experiments, during the pre-operational stage, he filled 2 glasses with the same amount of water. The glasses were identical. He then asked children if the glasses had the same amount of water. The children said that yes, there was the same amount. He then took one of the glasses and in front of the children emptied it into a taller, narrower beaker. The children were again asked, does the beaker and the other glass have the same amount of water? Children picked the beaker because it was taller. Children were unable to reason logically that the same glass of water had just been poured into a different container. Therefore, there was still the same amount of water in each container. All they could see was how the glasses looked and how full that they looked. The concrete operational stage is from years 7 to 11. Children can understand abstract concepts. This is time, space, and quantity. And if you think about it in terms of education, this is when children start learning about these things. I currently teach third grade, and we teach children elapsed times and measurement with rulers and the mass of objects. They can apply to concrete situations, but they have trouble thinking independently of those situations. They can also learn rules but struggle with the logic. It's also to be noted that children's ideas can be inconsistent at this stage, but a basic logic is present that governs their cognitive operations. The fourth stage of Piaget's cognitive development is formal operations. This stage is for children 11 years and older. At this stage, children begin thinking in abstract, hypothetical, and theoretical thinking. They apply rules to specific situations, and they engage in counterfactual reasoning. Counterfactual reasoning is if-then reasoning. For example, if dogs were reptiles, they would have cold blood. At this stage, children are able to reason that dogs are not reptiles, but if they were reptiles, they would have cold blood. Formal logic also becomes possible. This means that verbal explanations are sufficient without needing demonstrations. For example, teachers are able to present PowerPoints more, have students take notes without actually having to demonstrate everything that they teach. And at this age, strategy-based games become more enjoyable. Candyland and other childlike games become repetitive for children. Some things to consider. There has been criticism from cross-cultural psychologists. Some psychologists believe that Piaget's cognitive development stages may be unique to Western children. But Piaget's cognitive development stages have held up better than Freud's theories. And Piaget's cognitive development theory has been the basis for several other psychological ideas. An example of that is Kohlberg's theory of moral development.